IC surface cleaned. We checked it to make sure we didn't have any more short to ground. The only thing we got left to do now is to mount the new IC. To mount the new IC, what you're going to want to do is put some solder flux on the pad area itself. I know you're probably like, we just cleaned it all up. Yep, it's a little process. Put your flux on all your little pads, little silver solder pads where we're going to be soldering. You just need a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. As you notice, I probably put a whole lot on the Q-tip. I use a Q-tip to apply it. No particular reason. I just use a Q-tip. Now we're ready basically for the IC. What you're going to want to do is make sure you install the IC correctly, because as you can see, there's 4 sides to the IC. That's another easy way to get it out of the package. But basically, you got your IC. You want to make sure you line them up correctly. If you look right here, there's a little white triangle. Initialing, this is the area where the number 1 pin should go. If you look right there, there's a little white triangle right there. And then if you look right here on the IC, there's a little dot in the lower left corner. So basically this goes on there like that. Soldering the IC onto the board, it's kind of tricky. You want to make sure that the IC is completely centered onto the board itself before you start soldering. You want to get it as close to the center as you possibly can. So we're going to maneuver the IC here to get it as close to center as we possibly can. And this is one reason right here why you don't want to use too much flux, because you can't really see your work. So I'm going to try to wipe some of that away. That's good for now. And we're going to try to center it. It has to be basically perfectly center, because all the pads have to line up on each side. This needs to shift a little bit that way. And it needs to shift a little bit this way. And that there looks pretty darn close. Right there. One way to tell if it's pretty much close is to get a jeweler scope, which is one of these, and look to verify that the IC is actually sitting pretty center. And from the looks of it, it's pretty center. So now is where you want to take your soldering iron. This is what I normally do: is put some solder on a tip, and I solder down one tip of the IC chip. This part doesn't really have to be perfect, because you can always come back and clean up your work. I solder one end of the IC chip, clean my tip, check it again with your jeweler scope, make sure it's still centered. Which this one appears to still be. Yeah, this one appears to still be centered. And then hit it again on the reverse side. I hit that corner this time. I'm going to hit this corner. And basically what I'm doing is just putting a big old blob of solder on each tail right there. Okay? And clean your tip again. It's a ridiculous process. It really is. It's tedious. But you gotta look at it like this. You only get one shot. You only get one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted for this in that one moment. Quoted by Eminem, of course. But it looks like chip shifted just a little bit, but it looks like I'll be able to work with it the way it is. looks like I'll be able to work with it just the way it is. Trying to make that judgment call, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and see the dry. And this is one of the reasons why you only solder the corners, is to just, that way you can just clean up that one area and have it completely free. And as you see, the chip just shifted. So let me go back and hit it with my jeweler scope.
Is that only automatically with his eye? Yeah.
And it looks all pretty good, so now we're going to go ahead and run with it the way it is. The way I solder these is I use an angled soldering tip with my workstation. And basically I just hit it at one end and at the feet of the IC chips, and I just graze the solder all the way down.
Love you.
Just touch the feet of each leg a couple times. Then you normally get a pretty nice solid solder connection. As you can see, I stayed in one place too long, so I got soldered up in the chips, or on the tabs. But normally with just cleaning the tip of your solder, I don't know if you can really see that right there. No, you can't see with my camera phone, but you can just clean your tip of your soldering iron off and hit it again. And normally when you pull away with it from it, it normally cleans it up and gives you one good, nice, solid solder connection. Bam! Just like that. Who the man? Who the man? Make sure y'all tell y'all friends y'all seen this done by Komar on YouTube. Komar. They call me Komeister. Ooh, I messed that one up. See what happens when you get a big head? See what happens when you get a big head? That's why you don't get a big head, man. Then you mess up. Then when you messed up, you be like, I did that? You be like, yo. Be like, man, you effed up, Komar.
You going on 8 minutes?
I know, right? YouTube, they're dang on 10-minute rules. Alright, I'm not going to bore you with the details of cleaning up the mess, but basically, it's going to need a lot of practice with soldering to get to this state. But this is to help some of you guys out that have a little bit more advanced skills with soldering. Obviously, I don't, because I messed up. But once I get the chip on there correctly, I'll continue the video. Thanks.